Today, I am extremely honored to have a guitar tech, which is kind of an interesting guest for me to have, John. But I have John Thayer on, and John is a guitar tech and tour manager and all around handyman, kind of the fixer of all problems for rock bands. And specifically, John is a guitar tech for three very prominent guitar players that are from my era. Now, I am about 57 years old. John, how old are you now?
59.
59. So anybody that listened to 80s music probably has heard of the bands Dokken, Rat, and Extreme. And they have three really good guitar players, George Lynch, Nuno Bettencourt, and Warren Demartini. And John has had the pleasure of working for all those guys in the role as a guitar tech, which I find to be pretty interesting. So I'm really privileged to have you on. I appreciate you being here today, buddy.
Thanks, Sam.
So to get started, just to play a little game here, I have a one-word nickname for each of these guitar players. For Lynch, I would call him Edge or Edgy. For not necessarily personality, just their playing style, Edgy. Nuno Bettencourt, I would call Spunk, and Warren, I would call Tasty. Am I close, or what would you call these?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's like all three of them got fired to their playing and like each individual one. So yeah, it actually worked pretty good.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to dive right into this. About, I don't know, 3-4 days ago, you and I were both at a concert called M3 Festival in Maryland, and you're teching for Warren Demartini, and he's playing the epic intro to a song called Lay It Down. And by God, if that the high E string went to shit. Now, my question to you is, was your backup guitar in the because he tuned down, right, for that song?
Yeah, that's a drop
was your
D.
backup tuned to the same tuning? So did you
Nope.
have to get okay? So you had to not only you gave him so what you did is basically quickly tuned your backup guitar and handed him the backup guitar. Is that what you did?
Yeah, basically had that one ready for the encore and another song, and that's where actually half step down and standard tuning for the last two songs. And yeah, it was ready for that, and he popped, I think it was the B or the G, and I had to real quick like drop it down to drop D for him before I could give it to him.
Which it's not an automatic, it's not a 3-second process, brother. I mean, it takes.
Yeah, it was maybe about 4 seconds. I just had to pop it into a tuner quick, and the way we do it, like a lot of guys will do if they're doing drop D with a Floyd, is they'll have that E tuner, the low E tuner, almost all the way in. So I just had to like quick as I could back it out and get it on drop C sharp and go.
And there's never a good time to break a string, you know? I mean, never.
Yeah.
And that song, because the opening chords of that song after the intro are just as good as the intro, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We missed them, damn it.
Yeah, I know. Well, Carlos kind of took up the slack for a moment, and yeah, and that's the hard thing sometimes touring the way a lot of bands do now is we got two guitars, and we're using the drop D tuning on. There's a few songs, and it was a block at the end of the set, and it was one of those you got to be in one or the other.
So you handed him, you got that part of it done. He's back to playing, but now you've got to restring this other guy and get him to standard. Is that what happened, or did he? Okay. But
because I basically had that to get that ready for the encore. We're back up to standard pitch. Well, half step down, but that's our standard.
Now, you've been doing this for a long time. Does your heart flutter just a little bit? You're like, shit. I mean...
Oh, yeah. That was a fun situation, especially knowing I got one song to get it done and everything. But, like, I don't know if I want to call them tricks or whatever, but there's certain strings that will kind of wind a little extra. So just in case that does happen, it usually pops at the bridge. Normally doesn't break up at the neck. It's that you push down on it a little too hard. So with the extra couple of wraps, it's unwind it, slam that string back in, and I think I was ready in like 30 seconds, a minute.
Yeah, you did great. And you're an absolute pro. Now, at the Lynch Mob, the final show for the Lynch Mob, as they are now called something else. But anyway, at the Lynch Mob show in Medina, Minnesota, It was also, I think it was the last song, Encore, wasn't it? He bust a string. I can't remember what song it would have was. I think it was
Yeah, I
Wicked,
think it did
maybe.
happen. It was a minute
And
ago,
that one
so
was
but
quick,
yeah.
brother. I was with a couple friends of mine. One is my guitar teacher, Zachary Adkins, and then another player by the name of Fred Hugg. And anyway, and then his brother Derek Adkins also. But we all commented on the way back to the hotel, like, dude, that was a pro change. That was just like slick as snot. So kudos to you, dude.
Thank you. I mean, with the Floyd, like I said, it's kind of easy. There's certain strings normally you break either a G or a D and sometimes a B and the E. So I'll wrap them like an extra inch or so, get an extra wind or so you can use the same string. Sadly, on the high E, man, once that goes, it turns
It's
into a
history.
string most of the time. So you got to scrap that. But
Yeah, get a new one.
yeah, it just hopefully you got
So
a
what you
couple
mean is
guitars
on
to
those
play
other
with.
strings is you're just taking a pair of pliers or snipping or you're just still using the same string, but you had enough
Mm-hmm.
slack on the other end that you could quickly see.
Yeah.
I guess you learn those things through trial. I'm not smart enough to think about those things, but
Yeah, it's just kind of
you learn.
trial and error, and it's one of those things where for a while I was breaking D's, so it was like rather than trying to throw a new one on where you'd have to stretch it and it would just be a whole process, you're throwing the same string back through there and everything, and hopefully, like if it's a D string, you don't pull it and unwind the thing, and you can just snip it and throw it back in, and it's one of those, okay, it will get you through.
Yep. Well, it's fun to watch. I like watching you as much as I like watching the players, but I my heart went out for you too. And lay it down. I'm like, Bubba, no.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's put it this way. I was getting ready for we had lay it down, and then I think let me look at the set list
Probably
here.
round and
I
round
think
and
you're in
something else.
love right afterwards, so they
Yeah,
both
yeah,
drop
yeah,
D's, and
yeah.
then it's going to the encore. So it's like, all right, everything was rolling, get ready for the encore. I see Warren start walking over, and it's like you said, heart sinks, and it's okay. Let's just get this done.
So your job is to be a pro, and when I don't know, this
Hmm.
is a very strange analogy, so hang with me. I met a Secret Service agent once who was guarding at the time Vice President Walter Mondale, and they happened to be at the Winter Olympics when we beat Russia back in 1980. It was a big
Oh,
deal.
okay, up in
Remember?
Lake Placid, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a movie about it. So when they score the winning goal or whatever, the Secret Service agent totally like broke or like it's almost like breaking character. He's like broke. He's like cheering with everybody else. He's like, oh shit, what are you doing?
I'm
So it's
supposed to be
kind
doing
of
my
like
job here.
yeah. So do you ever find an instance where you're on stage and you're like, shit, god dang, that sounds good because you have the best seat in the house? Well, not necessarily. I don't know that you do
Actually,
because you can't hear as good as maybe I
yeah.
can in the center.
Sadly, it's like the worst seat in the house.
Yeah, for sound. But there are
Yeah.
times, is there not, have you ever caught yourself, you're like, fuck, this sounds good? Or like, you like kind of get out of your character. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean it's more of a at times that certain songs will do that.
Yeah. See, so I'm glad you're
Like,
being honest because I caught your
yeah,
ass on Way Cool Jr. the other day. I'm like, Johnny
dude,
likes this
how can
song.
you not, man? I mean, it's funny. It was actually that was the second show I've done with Warren. I just started with him. First show, what was it?
A
Yeah,
Mohegan,
set
wasn't
list.
it?
I got set list on the wall. Yeah, I think it was Back for More. It was one of those. The first stands up. You get the goosebumps, and it's just kind of um, it throws you back, and it's just kind of like, wow, okay, standing up here and like at the first show at Mohegan, it was I got the guitars in the morning, pulled them out, and the cross swords is in there, and it's the original cross swords.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
there's
Now, for
certain
guys our age,
guitars.
we know exactly what the hell you're
Yeah,
talking about here.
yeah. I mean,
Because
there's
I was going to
certain
ask you, was it
ones.
like taking for the new guy? Like, here comes Warren. It's like, what do you say? Hey, dude, do you want me to use Frenchie as your number one, or do you want me to use the swords guitar? I mean, what what's it like? I mean, dude, how do you want your action? Or I mean, what are those conversation? What is the conversation? Or do you even have a conversation with the
Really
artist?
wasn't too much of one. Basically met Warren the morning of the show, and I had met him for a quick minute a few years ago, but nothing. Guitar was high, like great to meet you and everything, because he came to a Lynch Mob show years ago. But yeah, it was just pretty much he has them set up and everything because he's bringing them. It was basically just getting the gear and getting it set up and a quick little chat of what he was running because of obviously the first time working with him and stuff. I get a lot of times I'll get a tech sheet, a little description of like what's going on and setups and everything. And then it was just get through the first sound check and through the first show.
Yeah, and you did. So it's interesting because Warren and George are peers, and I guess I'll talk about that in a little bit in the interview, but later. I mean, they're like buddies and friends and stuff, right? I mean, so the question, I guess, the $1 million question is, did George refer you to Warren, or did somebody else hire you, or how does that work? Like, how did you become, like this is a big announcement, listeners, because Warren Demartini hasn't played live in, I don't know, 8 years or something.
Yeah, I think it was
And
like 7 years or so.
And he's back on stage with the band called Piercy and Demartini, not Rat, but what am I saying? I'm sorry, my train of thought.
Well, that one, I
It was a
mean,
big deal. It was a big deal. So this is a big assignment. Like, this guy's back on stage for the first time in 8 years, and he's an iconic player from the '80s.
well, and they and Extreme have same management, so that's
Okay,
basically how this one came about. Is
gotcha.
he needed somebody, and Extreme's off the road at the moment, so it was basically okay. Do you want this?
There's John. Yeah, and oh, by the way, he's texts for Lynch too, which Warren knew, I'm sure. I mean, it's a small world out there, right? I mean, it's a pretty small world.
Yeah, kind of, pretty much.
It's. I mean, it's lucky you, dude. I mean, my Mount Rushmore of guitar players is George Lynch, Warren Demartini, Jakey Lee, and Angus Young. Sorry, Nuno, but that's, you're right in my sweet spot. That's
Oh
the kind
yeah,
of.
dude.
I
My five.
actually have a. I'm sorry to interrupt. I actually have a story about that on the cruise here a couple years ago. These damn meet and greet, or these click the photos that you go in, you stand in line
Okay,
for
the photo op.
400
Yeah.
yards, and you get like 0.5 seconds to say something to like your heroes. And I love Nuno Bettencourt. I love him to death. And so I walk into the photo and I just like, I go, Nuno, I can't figure out who's the better guitar player on this ship, you or George. And
Oh
actually,
well, dude.
and I forgot that Michael Schenker was on the damn boat, but he's probably better than both of them. But he's not. But
Personal opinion. No, I get it. Yeah.
Nuno's funny as hell about it. He goes, well, he's like, well, I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the cool thing with the boat this year is having both of them. I basically walked out, and no offense to any of the guitar players on the boat, but I know I got kind of two of the badasses on the boat.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, dude. No doubt about it. Now, did you tech for George on the Kiss cruise?
Yeah.
I can't. You did. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a moment during that. Sorry, I'm gonna geek out, and I really don't care. There was a moment in that show where they were doing an all-star jam. I think Tyson Leslie and Brent Woods put on these all-star jams, and they got George up there.
Okay. Yeah.
They got George up to do a mountain song, and I don't even know what mountain song it is because I don't listen to a lot of mountain, but I know Leslie West is very influential. These guys. Anyway, it was George and Tracy Guns, and
Okay.
it was a poignant moment because Tracy, who's one of the nicest people I've ever met, by the way, he's just the nicest
Tracy's
guy.
a blast.
Oh my
Was
God,
hanging with him and his tech fits on the boat this year.
just the nicest guy to everybody. Just friendly and just nice. But
Oh, yeah.
anyway, there was a point of that shore, they're jamming, they're trading solos or whatever, and Lynch was in fuego. And Tracy sat down, stopped playing, and sat down on the drum riser. And I have
I think I do remember
I have
that.
a picture of him. I have a picture of him pointing at Lynch. And you were talking about, and at that moment, I'm like, there's not a better guitar player on the ship right now. There's just not. But anyway, geek.
Dude. I mean, there was one point where I think we were up doing one of the Doc and encores because he did Lynch Mob and went up for encores with Doc, and I turned around and Paul Stanley's behind me watching.
I saw that. Yes, I was at that. Yep, Paul Stanley was there. Yep, I was there. I can back that up. Yep, it's just cool stuff. Cool stuff. Okay, I told John it was going to be a bunch of Gaga Lynch stuff, so I'll
Oh, yeah.
stop that. And George gets extraordinarily uncomfortable when people talk. Like, I mean, I've only once did I ever like really say something to him geeky, and he doesn't like it. He just doesn't like it. He appreciates it, but he doesn't do the guitar god stuff, which is
Yeah, well,
cool.
I mean,
One
the
of the
cool.
many reasons that I like the guy, because he's very humble. I think he's very humble.
Well, most of them, most of the good ones, it's they don't rest on the laurels. It's I'm always going for something. Being a guitar player, it's like tone. You're always chasing it,
Yes,
and it's the
chasing the
same thing
dragon.
with them and everything. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with the playing. It's once you get how to term it. Once you get complacent with it, you kind of lose your fire.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
It's the same thing with all three of them. I mean, obviously, I don't know Warren as much, but it's the same thing with Nuno. It's always striving and driving for
Pushing.
more.
Yep. Yeah, and we're the beneficiaries of that. I mean, just unbelievable. These guys are
Oh yeah.
just it's so awesome. Okay, so this next section is going to be called "Let Me Put It to You This Way," because I think that's one of your favorite or famous things that you say, right? Let me put it to you this way. In other words, when things go wrong or whatever. I mean, how do you deal with I mean, you kind of went through it, but I mean, how do you deal with last minute changes on stage?
You just kind of roll with it. I mean, basically, you kind of plan for the worst and hope for the best. And
Yeah.
at least on my end, sadly, my favorite moments when it's all right, last song. Last note hits because I know it's all right, we're done, nothing can happen. Yeah, exactly. It's that exhale and everything. And it varies. I mean, shows with George are a little more loose and free because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, sometimes there might be a huddle on stage and it's okay. Well, we were going to play this song. Now it's going to go in a little different direction. With Extreme, it's more of a 2 hours of on the edge, and we're pretty much the same show every night. It might change up a little bit just because it's a different scale of things with the lights and sound and all that. It's not as free flowing, but yeah, it's stressful where you're basically trying to get through with no issues.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the point about one of my favorite. On the final ride tour. I think I went to 5 shows. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I saw
my
you a bunch.
favorite. Yeah, I think I only brought the guitar once or twice, but
Yeah, well, a
I,
couple times.
I tried. Anyway, one of the real reasons I enjoy watching George is because, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but listen, he never plays the same thing twice ever. I mean, for
Oh yeah.
solos, it's the same structure perhaps, but he's not playing stuff note for note every night. Now, Nuno
Oh no.
probably is. And so, from a tech standpoint, that would it changes things up. He keeps everybody on their toes. He keeps the entire band on their toes. He keeps the drummer on his toes. He keeps everybody right. I
Yeah,
mean,
more for the band with that aspect. I mean, it's
yeah.
great for me where it's a little bit different with them. Our set list is usually different every night. There's stuff in and out because we're not as, I don't want to say reliant, but it's like, all right, we don't really carry a crew. So we don't have a light guy out there that needs to know, boom, when this is happening and video walls and all of that stuff. The level of production is a little bit different. So it's, yeah, if George wants to go an extra 8, it's kind of on the band to be listening to him. Or, hey, in between a song, they might do a couple-minute little jam of something they've never heard. He might not have ever heard of it. He's coming up with it on the spot. So it keeps them on their toes.
There was something I recorded in Harrison, Ohio. It wasn't this in 25, it was in 24, but it was unbelievable. I mean, Gabriel's coming up with freaking lyrics on the spot and stuff, and it was nuts. It was
Oh,
nuts to
yeah,
see
yeah.
it. Just,
Yeah, I mean,
it would
and
be,
that's,
I would think as a tech, it would be, I mean, God bless all these bands that are all polished and have all this production and everything's on a cue, but I as a tech, you get to see a different. With George, you're getting to see essentially a different show every night. Well, you are. I mean, just from the
yeah,
standpoint that, like we said, he doesn't play the same thing every night. He just doesn't.
yeah, I
He
mean,
might play the
it
same song, but
varies.
it's not going to be the same solo.
Yeah, and sections will change. I mean, not really sections will change, but like you're saying, yeah, it's a different solo. I mean, with us, both band are actually all three of them, I guess. Sometimes you have different set lengths, so it changes up and everything. But yeah, with George, it's kind of, or Lynch Mob, it's one of those, all right, you're gonna end up in the destination, but you don't know how you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And they
But
both
that's
have
why
good
he's
and bad.
edgy, John. That's why
Yeah.
he's an
Oh
edgy
yeah.
player. I mean, because he doesn't. I've heard him talk about it. Like sometimes he doesn't know where the hell he's going. And as a person who's not trained, I have no. I can't. I can't. I don't hear anything. I mean, I'm not. I don't play to pitch or to by ear or any of that stuff. I'm not. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Or I'm not blessed enough. But I do know when he's in a solo section and he's like, oh shit, he's in trouble here, but he just pops right out of it, and it's
Oh,
so much fun to watch. It's so
oh
much
yeah.
fun to watch.
I mean, and both of the aspects have great things. Especially in my world, because it's like there's times like you're saying you'll just get caught watching and listening and stuff, and it's like yeah, he's always reaching and striving, and it's funny because there's be times where he'd be like, man, I wish I was more like the Shankers and Nunos and all of that stuff, where it is a
Because there'd be
note
less
for
stress on
note
him.
most of the night,
Yeah,
but then I don't know, kind of be boring.
it would be boring, and it wouldn't. It's just not in his DNA, and I just freaking love it. I love it as a fan. It's awesome to watch. It just
Oh, no doubt.
it's so much fun. How do you prepare for different climates and venues?
Oh man.
It's a real issue. I know with my Snake Hunter guitar, that thing never stays in tune. I mean, one night in Las Vegas, it was over like an air conditioning duct, and it just was a mess. It just couldn't.
Yeah, you got to
I don't
try
think
and
you
keep
were
it
there that night, but it
consistent
was
is possible. I've run into situations where I'm in a spot and it might be colder than on stage or whatever, and it can be really rough. Man, it's you just try and acclimate. Like this weekend, California was kind of chilly, and Maryland, where M3 was warm and humid. You know how it was.
the humidity. It wasn't horrible, but if say you're in deep South humidity and you're an outdoor show, how in the hell do you prepare for that?
You just got to let them acclimate for as long as you can, depending on like if they're coming from your room or a flight or whatever. You just got to let them sit out for a while. It's like when you get a
Interesting.
new guitar, you got to let it sit in the case when you get it home, like especially winter time, because it's been in the UPS truck all day. You got to let it sit. There's times I'll bust them out and let them sit for 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, depending on what it is, especially if it's a cold to hot thing. But yeah, it usually they're pretty good, and you're not normally going back and forth from a cold to hot or whatever. So it's pretty consistent because like where I'm setting up on stage, I'm pretty much by where we're gonna play. Only issue I've ever really had is Nuno's 4N flipped out on us once in Germany last year because the club was like, dude, it was like 125 in the club. It was brutal. And the humidity, and it was this place, I think Fahrenheit 36 or something in New York or in Germany somewhere, and it was like Fahrenheit 150 in the place. It was brutal.
So not only trying to keep it in tune, you're trying to like not pass out from the heat. I mean,
Yeah, it was really rough. Our boards almost went thermal and shut down. We got really lucky on that, even be able to have the show. But something happened on the very beginning of the show where he did a dive bomb and the neck freaked out. The neck bolts came loose in it and it shifted and dropped it about a whole step.
it's crazy.
And yeah, it took a minute. Believe me, yeah, it was not
Like, what
fun.
happened?
Yeah, I luckily we had issues for a couple days, and stupid me, I didn't think to check the bolts because we had never had an issue with them for like a day and a half. Was trying to figure it out, and luckily got a minute where it got quiet at a festival, which is just unheard of. Did a like buried the bar and heard the neck kink, and three out of the five bolts were loose. One of them was pretty much just spinning in its thing.
It just goes to show you don't assume anything, man.
Oh yeah.
Neck bolts. Like what? Like
Yeah,
good
seriously.
grief.
And I don't know if it was because of the humidity in the club that night that made everything swell and caused them to loosen up or something. But yeah, it caused real issues. I almost went home off of that.
Little invisible gremlins, man.
Oh
Unbelievable.
yeah, it did, believe me. And you just never know. I've had some crazy stuff. Like I had a neck shelf strip, like actually it was a Kaler neck shelf for one of the Kaler Steelers on Nuno's guitars, and loosening it. The thing stripped on me during the middle of the show.
In the middle of the show.
Yeah, he
And what do
was.
you do? You're like, hey, Nuno, the thing just. I mean, what do? You don't.
Oh
You're
no,
not. You don't because
no.
you don't want him to worry about that. You want him to worry about the show. But there's a
Oh
reason
yeah.
why I haven't given this back to you, brah.
Well, and the messed up part was it was during I think Wholehearted where he's got the 12 strings. So I got like song to do it, and dude, I tuned it, went to screw the thing back in, and it just kept spinning. So it wasn't even like it started getting tight and it stripped out because I yanked it too hard. It stripped when I took it out, and there was some choice four-letter words said for a moment there. Tried a new
Well, let me put it
screw,
to you this
tried
way.
everything. Yeah, yeah, there was a moment of, oh my lord.
I'm just gonna go home now.
Yeah, oh, yeah, pretty much that could almost happen, but no. He went, oh, it's good. I'll just use it. And pretty much every time he would bury the bar, the A and the E were unlocked, and he would just give him a little tweak, and bam, it'd be it. And we got through it, and I cobbled a nut together the next day.
99% of the people at that concert had no clue what was going on. I mean, probably,
Mm-hmm.
So good
Yeah,
for you.
pretty much.
I wouldn't have. I'm too dumb. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, if you don't
John's
see
got it.
it.
John's got it. I'd just be
Yeah,
like, God,
yeah.
John's got it. It's all good. All right, take me through just take me through a day on the Lynch Mob Final Ride tour. Interesting tour. It was interesting, the booking direction of things. I tried like hell to get you guys in Omaha, and I don't know why it didn't work out. It just never worked out. So
Sometimes
there was a
it's
lot of
just,
strange booking routes,
oh, that's touring base.
but generally you were always within like 3 to 6 hours driving time.
Yeah.
The Lynch Mob is you fly in. So how does it work? Do you fly in?
Yeah,
I know he
basically,
flies with his head. He flies with his guitars. You have a guitar that you come with, right? How does that work? I mean, you have to rent stuff. There it is, the Purple Tiger.
basically
For
with
sale, I
them,
think.
it's different worlds between the bands, but basically with Lynch Mob, what we'll do is, all right, if we got a Thursday night show, we'll fly in Wednesday, get to that first city, and then we'll drive ourselves in between. That's why we try and keep it 3 to 6 apart. Usually, closer to the three is nice, but we'll just
Amen.
drive ourselves in between
Because what that
shows.
means is you're either leaving at like 11 a.m. or noon versus 8 or 9 in the morning, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some of them where
After
it's all
no
right.
sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
like when I go to a show, sorry to interrupt, John, but when I go to a show, one of your shows, it takes me, say you're off stage at 11:30, it takes me a good 2 hours to unwind. I mean, my my freaking whoop is going off, like, activity detected, your heart rate was 100 and like it got up to like 189 one night watching a Lynch Mob show, which is fine.
Oh,
I'm in shape.
geez.
I
Don't
can
do
handle
that.
that. But no, actually, I can do that. But I'm in shape. But that's why I work out, John, so I can go to Lynch Mob shows. But I'm wired, and so I don't know what the guys are like or what you're like, and it takes you an hour or two to take everything out, and so you're probably in bed. You're lucky if you're in bed by 3, probably, right? Is that fair?
No,
2,
usually
3.
it's before that. It's not too bad. Luckily, like when we tour, this last one was different because we had gear with us with Paralandra, the opening band.
Right.
Or awesome band in their own right.
They are awesome.
We had gear with us. Normally with us, we're touring and we get backline, which is the promoter gets a hold of a company to basically provide us cabs, a bass rig, a drum set, and then George will bring a head and a pedal board. And then, like you were saying, he'll bring at least one guitar. I'll bring a guitar. Make life a little bit easier because we're flying all over. But we can be out of there Man, I if I really need to, I can be out of venue in about 10, 15 minutes, excluding merch, because we're not traveling
Because
with
you're
a
not
ton
taking
of
very much
stuff, so
stuff.
it's not too bad. Too
You're not
bad.
loading cabinets into a van, into a trailer.
Yeah, this year when we did the last run, we did with Paralandra and stuff. So we all loaded in and stuff, and it wasn't too bad because we basically shared everything with them.
And you got
So it was
4
a
or 5
little
extra
longer, but
hands.
yeah, so it's a lot easier. Normally I'm unplugging, packing an amp, a pedal board, and a Pelican case, and I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Which is
Okay.
nice.
Okay, so you get to bed at, say, normally you're going to get to bed at
Yeah, it's like maybe
1:00 in the
2-ish.
morning. Yeah,
Yeah,
1 or 2.
1, 2 o'clock.
So you're going to get up, depending on the time of the show and the next day, you'll get 6 hours of sleep if you're lucky.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. And
Depending
so
on,
then
like you're saying, depending on how far of a drive it is. If it's a short drive, a couple hours, yeah, we can bust out of the hotel a little bit later and everything, and depending on when load is. It's not too bad. And I mean, with them, we're usually not doing the last bunch of shows with Final Ride was almost 2 months, which we normally don't do. It's normally a weekend. So yeah, you can survive for the 3 days on a couple hours of sleep every night. Go home, sleep.
I used to, when I was a younger guy driving, employees, I'd say, you sleep when you're dead. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I sleep when I'm tired now because I can. So I do. Are there any essential tools that you take on tour, or anything like, you get to a city, you're like, oh my God, I forgot X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, it happens at times. Oh man, I pretty much got a toolkit I just put together over the years from working on guitars and like any little miscellaneous piece of wire, foam, any weird stuff like that might get thrown in there because you might never know. Oh, I have a bolt. Oh, we need a bolt for something. Okay, here. Um, but it's basically just basic guitar tools. I mean, cutters,
So it's like a tackle
winders.
box. I would like take a fishing tackle
Yeah,
box
kind
of
of type
stuff
of thing.
about that size.
Yeah, I got a little briefcase, and some dudes have bigger. Stuck with the briefcase because with Lynch Mob we travel in a minivan. Um, so I don't get a lot of room. Believe me, I love a big rolling case. It would be awesome, but with that tour,
Yeah.
it's just not happening.
No, because logistically it's not going to happen. So other
So
than
yeah,
like
basically your standard stuff, and yeah, there's
a
times
Sharpie
where it's
pen, John, you got to have Sharpie pens for morons like me.
I always got at least one of those, a couple flashlights, and at
So
least one
like
little clip-on tuner.
at the cruise that you saw me hauling out this big frickin' humongous poster. Remember that? It
Oh
was
yeah,
stuck.
yeah, yeah.
And so that was, talk about stress, brother. I had to get to the airport, and I had to figure out how to ship that thing FedEx, and we got it done. But
Oh, glad you got it home.
I'm not even gonna tell. I told Jaron how much it cost to freaking ship that thing. But anyway, we were
I shipped the
outside.
guitar case last week. I get it.
Yeah, it's like, whoa. We were outside, and lo and behold, there's like Jaron and George are standing there. Gabriel had already signed it. I saw him in line going out of the ship. But anyway, I'm like, shit, I don't have a Sharpie, and so Jaron's fumbling. Jaron has a Sharpie, by God, just a great guy.
Oh, Jaren's a godsend,
I
man.
mean,
Love
to
him.
tour with him would be fun because he's like a backup utility guy, right? I mean,
Oh
he's the
yeah, I
bass
mean,
player. He makes it all
hey,
happen.
he
But
is the one that allows me to go out on the other tours when they have shows because he basically runs everything and picks up all the slack.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was just amazed at Jaron, like, oh, I got a Sharpie, and he's like, digging through stuff. Like, dang it. So John, I want to make sure that in your box of goods is a Sharpie, because you never know when morons like me are going to need a
There's
Sharpie.
probably 6, 8 of them in there. At least 2 of them on me
Boy,
when I'm running around at the show. And
not your first rodeo, brother. Not at all. Other than tying George's shoes on stage, what's the
oh
most
Lord,
unusual request you've ever gotten?
oh man,
Now, you weren't the tech in the '80s that, the famous story, and God knows some of the stuff that Lynch comes out of George's mouth. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think this is true. You heard about the story in the '80s where he's wearing spandex and his anatomy he's going commando, and the spandex tears and his anatomy comes pouring out of the spandex, and then the tech has to tape the anatomy up with some duct tape. I don't know if that's true or not.
yes, thank God that was not me.
I would just say no, bro. I have limits, but don't know if you ever heard that story or not.
Yes, I think I do remember. Sadly, that was probably Matt had to do that.
Matt,
Man,
the
poor
president
guy.
of ESP Guitars,
Yes,
right?
the president of ESP Guitars. He was probably the one that had to tape up George's junk with his fan.
The one that George always says has been his best man at all his weddings. Well, now I see why.
Oh, yeah. I think you get special privileges if you've had to do that before. Nothing really. I mean, yeah, the tying of his shoes, pretty much. No, and there hasn't been anything like
Well, George is
crazy
old. We don't want him
requests
to
or.
trip on stage, you know?
Oh yeah, well the funny thing is, there's a couple of times where he'll like he had these sneakers that just would keep coming untied, and like, all right, I go out and tie it, and then he'd step on the other shoelace just to untie that one, keep
Oh,
me
just to be
down there a
ornery.
little bit longer. Yeah,
Attaboy.
so
Attaboy.
I fixed that problem by like I'd go down there and I'd tie him in like triple knots, like
They cut the circulation on his foot.
just like for your little kids where they're doubles. It's like, all right, here's three. Have fun untying that.
Tourniquet his ass, so you won't pull
Yeah,
that
no
trick.
doubt. But that's one of the great things. I mean, I have fun with all the guys because they're all great guys. But yeah, we do have fun because, I mean, I've been with them like 10 years. So
Yeah. The first time I remember meeting you was in 2019 in Tulsa. See, I remember this, John. It's very significant to me. But I was with him. I saw a lot of his shows in 15, but I don't remember seeing you there.
that's when I
A lot of
first
West Coast
started
stuff.
with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I first started, and when I first started, I was pretty much doing East Coast stuff.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I'm from
Stuff,
upstate New York. So
he
it
used
was
to
a
do
bunch of
like,
stuff that was in my area.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Like he used to do like Golden, Colorado, and then one time I just followed him down the damn coastline from like Seattle to San Jose
Oh, nice.
to Vegas. It was 2015. I remember that one too because it was like the last time that AC/DC was on tour, and I told him I'm going to AC/DC in San Jose. Lynch was off that night, or I don't know. So I'm going to AC/DC tomorrow night in San Francisco, and he's like, Lynch's like, how do they get that tone? I'm like, I'll get right back to you, dude. I don't know.
See, I'd rather have George's tone. That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. So if I wanted to be a guitar tech, if I said, John, I want you to be my mentor, like how I want to be a guitar tech for George Lynch or for Angus Young or for whoever. Besides laughing at me, what would you recommend I do? Maybe learn how to play the guitar would be the first thing, but
You know what? Like, that's not being able to play it a little bit. You
I
can
can
get
play an
away.
E, an A, a D,
Oh,
and a
yeah.
G.
Okay, dude. With the couple of guitars that I've seen from you, I hope you can play a little better than that.
Well, it's embarrassing. Don't follow me on Instagram.
If you can get away with a little bit of playing so you can, like, just do a line check for the sound guy, you're okay. And as long as you know what they were supposed to feel like and the playability of them, it's
Right.
basically being able to know how to rip a guitar apart, problem solve on the thing if you have issues, um, know some degree of pedals, amps, all the other stuff, and wiring and all that, um, and getting real lucky.
Yeah. Well, if you hang
Uh,
around long enough and show interest, I think is the key. Probably, it's like anything else in life. I mean, any success I've had, I never really thought I was going to end up doing X, Y, or Z.
oh, believe me, dude,
It's
I did not plan 10 years ago to become a guitar tech. It
yeah, because
just
you're
kind of,
busy in the rock and roll catering business, right? I mean,
yeah, I used to do that, and dude, I'd swing a hammer and do interior remodeling. I had a 9 to 5, 4:30 some days, but
yeah.
and it was cool because it's all right, you're done, but it's all right. It came along and turned into something, and all right, let's go.
But I think that's good advice. Yeah, as a kid in the '80s, I used to read because this is way before the internet, so you couldn't go on YouTube. You
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
like I didn't even hear George Lynch speak for the first time until American Bandstand appearance. Like
mm,
I'm all revved up. I figured he's like, I'm George, but he's like he's all kind of soft spoken. I'm like, what
nah,
the heck? It's just weird. But anyway, back in the '80s, I would read Guitar Player for the Practicing Musician, Guitar World, Guitar Magazine. from head to toe, every word
Oh
I'd
yeah.
read. And I used to know like all the tech stuff, like, well, so and so is using the SE74 or whatever. Now there's probably, I bet you there's 10 times as much gear available to
Oh,
players
it's
than there were in the
ridiculous.
80s. So I lost count.
It's ridiculous the amount of stuff that's out there and the amount of cool stuff. Funny thing is, it's, you know what? Some of the best is the old stuff. I mean, you've seen George's rig and his pedal board and everything, and I mean, we're pretty much using an '80s rig.
Yeah, he could use my, well, most of my gear's his gear, but I mean he
You
could,
know what?
he could
I know
use
what
my,
you're about
he could
to
use my
say.
snake hunter. I have one, his head from the JCM 2000, but it's modded for him. It was modded for him
Oh, you
for
played a
Shadow Nation.
2000?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was modded for him for, and then he used it on Shadow Train when he went around. It's still like dirty and dusty and stuff. It's awesome because he had it in trailers and stuff and just going through the desert. But I mean, he could. I bet you he could still. I mean, he could
You
use
know
that
what?
stuff.
With the good guys, it don't really matter what they plug into.
No, it doesn't.
They sound like them. And it's funny because there's stories with like Nuno will tell you he plugged into Eddie's rig and was disappointed because he
He sounded
sounded
like
like
Nuno.
Nuno.
Yep.
I
Ted did the
mean,
same thing in Eddie's. Ted Nugent did the same thing in
yeah,
Eddie's, and it's like,
it's like he could plug into George's rig and he'd sound like him. George could plug into his rig and he'd still sound like George.
So
It's
here's
it's
here's the
in them.
question then. Here's the question. George is driven by tone, right? And there's no question about that. He's going to have a good night when he has great tone. But his tone
All guitar players.
truly, right, duh. But
I mean, you can.
his tone in his fingers, to me, it's in his fingers, it's in his heart, it's in his brain. It's all this
Yeah, that's
DNA stuff.
dude. That's the thing. That's the
And it's
thing I
not
say.
equipment. It's not equipment. It's not equipment. So the question, I mean, so your job is important in the sense of like you got to give him what he wants to hear every night,
Oh yeah,
right?
you want the rig to sound good,
Right. But
but
but but the,
truly,
but the Joe six pack out here, Lynch could play anything I gave him, and it would sound like Lynch to me. You know what I
mhm,
mean? It's just a
yeah.
bizarre, mysterious kind of a
It's
thing.
the thing is though, it's okay. We could go up there with a line six, and like you're saying, there's no offense to him, comma guy's not going to know. The player is going to be
I
like,
wouldn't
oh,
know. I like
yeah.
Lycan six.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of their stuff is cool for what it is, but it ain't an 81 800 with some hot tubes going and an old screamer and an old phase 90, and it's a little
And
bit
it's not a
different.
basket weave
E-
cabinet with the old,
not
all this,
even, we
that, and the
usually
other.
use the standard ones because that's all we can get,
Yeah.
but it's like,
But Lynch will take a basket weave before the standard, right? I mean, it's just these
oh
little
yeah,
tiny
yeah, if we
little.
can get, when I'm backlined, I'm at the mercy of what the company's got
Yeah.
if we're not
Yeah.
taking it with us. But it's like what you're going back to is, yeah, it's the three H's: their head, their hands, and their heart. That's where it all comes from with the good dudes. I mean, you hear them warming up with a little Black Star Fly, and it sounds like George. I mean, these guys got it, and there's something different that separates the really good guitar players. And I've been so lucky and blessed that I get to work for three of my five.
Yeah. And all three are the exact same way. I mean, they warm up, you could blindfold me and I would know in half a second. Half a
Oh
second.
yeah, I mean,
It's amazing. So
and
what makes go ahead. Go ahead.
and that's kind of cool thing is sometimes you get to watch them warm up, and it's just they're just going off in places that's not normally okay. This isn't normally in a song. They're just all right improvising and stuff, and you never know. I mean, dude, I was working a gig last week, and I walked in, and Nuno was playing More Than Words with Steven Tyler, and dude,
Your freaking arms just
I
get
was going in
goosebumps.
to get the guitar. I just walked in, shut my mouth, stood up against the wall, and listened. And it was like, okay, there's a moment.
Spiritual. I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
it's
dude.
it's unbelievable. So you listen to all these guys. So what makes George Lynch sound like George Lynch? to me, it's probably his vibrato and his aggressive attack on the strings, but I don't know how to articulate it.
His note choices,
Yes, they're totally
places
off the
he
band.
goes on the fretboard.
Yes. Because he doesn't know theory, so he doesn't know that he's not theoretically correct or
He knows a
whatever.
bit, but yeah,
he
he's
does. Of course
not
he does.
yeah, it just his playing comes from his heart. I mean, it does with all of them. I can't speak so much on Warren. I mean, I just know from listening from years to him and a couple of shows, just because I haven't worked with him that long.
But
Yeah, it just comes from their heart.
is Warren, is he theory? Does he? I don't know what his schooling is. Does he
I don't know.
To me, he sounds more in the. He's not as edgy as George because he's playing more traditional things. However, he's playing them in a format that isn't normally. I don't know how to describe it. It's so juicy. It's so good. The solo to freaking Nobody Rides for Free. Like, holy God. Where does this come from?
Although he's got, I don't want to say he's got more of a blues thingy, a little more blues bass to his playing.
I think.
But dude, I watched some video the other day. Because I got the worst seat in the house.
Yeah,
I don't get to watch
fingers.
their hands. I watch their back. It's funny. My buddy's like, "Oh, you must learn so much." Yeah, I know what his back looks like, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. But like, I watched some video of a couple of the tunes from Warren at M3.
M3.
And, he's all over the neck. It's not like he's a strictly in the box dude. He was playing some cool stuff. I think it might have been Nobody Rides or something. But yeah, he was tearing it up.
It's just juicy, but it oozes with juice. I don't know how to articulate it better than that. It's damn juicy. It's so tasty.
It's boom, boom, boom. The three.
Now,
I mean, it's what's coming out of him.
Lynch is more like, hey, George, decapitate me with a chainsaw. I mean, and it sounds good, but it sounds good. And Nuno, to me, is speed and finesse, I guess.
And funk.
I don't know. Yeah.
And funk. He's got a serious funk to his playing.
Spunk/funk. His rhythm playing is fantastic.
But yeah.
Just
all three guys' rhythm playing is like out of the world. But yeah, his is very, very percussive.
Yes.
I mean, and dude, that's the thing that I'm so lucky is I get to watch three awesome guitar players play.
Good for you, buddy. And you get paid for it. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the miracle part of it too. It's nice to be able to eat.
But that leads to one of the questions I had was in the last of that section is how the hell do you make money? Because I know, John, you're making enough to make a living, but it's not, you're doing this for love. You're not doing it for the money.
I got a Lamborghini out there. No, I'm kidding. You just do a lot of shows.
Yeah. And you get paid. This is you don't have to answer this, but do you
$1 million?
Like, you get paid by the show? Do you get paid one show at a time, or how does that work?
It depends on the band.
Contract? Yeah.
Some of them do you a salary. Some of them it's per show. It depends on what's going on. Like, all right, next week I got a one-off doing Boardwalk Fest with Extreme. We'll get paid for a couple of days with that one. It just depends.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting business you're in, my friend. Okay.
I mean, and like I said, you do a lot of shows. I don't know how much I was on the road probably in the last year. I'd probably say at least 6 months of it, 8 months of it.
With Extreme and Lynch, yes. Yeah.
But it's,
I tracked you because I was always like trying to figure out, okay, is John going to be the tech of this next show? That maybe I'll bring the guitar because he knows my face and that stuff. But it's always been.
All you gotta do is that. No. Yeah, it's basically try and just. Obviously, with Extreme, we usually do tours, so we're out for a month and a half, 2 months, depending on what it is. So it's just trying to get as many shows a year and trying to pick stuff up when you can if you want to be able to, like I said, do it for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, I always go back swinging a hammer, but it's a hell of a lot more fun doing this.
Dude, this is a little more sexy. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I don't. If I had the
you don't get to go on a cruise ship when you're swinging a hammer.
Right. Well, that's true. That's true. That's true. But on the other hand, the pressure, I don't know if I could handle the pressure. I don't know. Sure I could. I've had high pressure gigs in my life, but it's just a different, you might have 20,000 people looking at you. I mean, like it, um,
Dude, we had a couple last year where it was 100,000.
ooh, it's like, hi, my name is John. And
Oh,
you
no,
don't,
no, no.
you're wearing black. You're not wearing, I want you to, on your next gig, I want you to wear like, hunter orange. So everybody can see you.
Oh, hell no.
You're like, hi, I'm John. I'm fixing the
No,
string right
man.
now. 100,000 people. You're just gonna have to wait for me.
No, thankfully those shows went off without a hitch, but usually it's not too bad. I mean, yeah, you got that half hour changeover is a little stressful because you're doing a bunch of stuff, hoping everything works, no problems or whatever. Like, okay, the other day, actually, hang on, give me 1 second. Sorry, I just want to pop one up. The other day, we went in, we sound checked, moved our stuff, had once Ace hit the way MB is with that rotating stage, we had Ace's set plus another 15 minutes or so to get set up, making everything working. Had one little issue, got it resolved. Yeah, there was a little sweat in there for a second. Usually it's not too bad. And especially like, all right, Extreme and Lynch Mob, we're out doing a check depending on where we're good to playing in the afternoon and then locking everything down. So it's a matter of just, all right, turning amps back on, dropping pedal boards, getting stuff taped down. And yeah, there's a little anxious moments right before the show. And it's, like I said, 9 out of 10 shows, everything could be absolutely fine. You have no issues. It's boom, great show, boom, pack it up, put it away. You're good. It's that every once in a while. Yeah.
I used to be, believe it or not, I used to be a cop, but it's 59 minutes of boredom, 1 minute of sheer terror kind of thing. You just gotta be
Yeah.
on your toes.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, you're on edge. Like while you guys are out enjoying the show, rocking out, I'm kind of like, okay, everything working and
Is he gonna
listening and
bust a string after the intro of Lay It Down? Son of a bitch.
yeah, man, you don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. Where was it? We did Monsters on the Mountain in
Yep.
Tennessee.
Yep. I was
And
there.
George hadn't broke a string in probably a good
Very.
year, maybe 2 years. Very
I've
rare.
only. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with Nuno. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen next time.
It will. It's going to. You just text the shit out of yourself.
You can just hit the.
But you'll be ready. Who
But
cares? It is what it is.
dude, he broke two of them at that gig in Gatlinburg.
I remember that kind of now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the worst thing is, on the second one, I was trying to get his granddaughter Daisy May up on stage so she could
Yep.
run up to him as soon as he hit the end of the song.
Right.
So it took half a second to get the guitar to him. Luckily, I
Right.
told him.
I got a great picture of him and I sent it to him. It's so cool.
Oh,
so
yeah,
cool.
let's put it this way. It was funny. I talked to him afterwards. And I was like, sorry, bro. I was grabbing Daisy. And he's like, that's all good. You got your priorities straight.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So, yeah.
So this last section, as a fan, so I was going to geek out here, but I've already geeked out too much. I apologize.
All good.
Warren and George similarities. Back in the day, I actually, when I was a kid, I had heard of Warren before I heard about George, just simply because I heard of Out of the Cellar. I'm in a small town in north central Nebraska called Valentine, Nebraska, right? And I have no contact with anything other than buddies telling me what albums to listen to. And, this county has 5,000 square miles, 4,000 people. You do the math, right?
Oh, yeah,
So MTV was a big deal because you're like, look at his fingers. That's what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, the worst thing is half of the videos, they're chopped up so much, so it's like
it's all
close.
BS. And the Dokken videos usually were terrible. But anyway, to me, Warren was my first hero before George. But then come to find out, they're both kind of, I don't know who's influenced who. I think they both influenced each other. But and to find out that Warren taught George. Go ahead.
George is kind of generation one with Eddie and Randy.
Yes.
Warren was kind of
like
the second generation.
Yes. So, but so in other words, Warren was my hero, but then it come to find out, well, hey, he was really influenced by George quite a bit here. And so one of the two things that I noticed or thought in the 80s, that Warren did that he doesn't do anymore is fanning the pickhand fingers,
Yeah.
which I always thought was the coolest shit ever. It's like, what is he doing? It's so cool. Like he gives him centrifugally, like mathematically, that's why he does it, gives him more speed. Who knows? But now Warren, all night long, he was like this. And it so kind of disappointed me that tell Warren to fan his damn fingers like the old days. And then and then the other thing is the jack off vibrato or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't see Warren do that the other night. I don't know. Is there any other similarities in their playings or any thoughts about that? You don't think about that stuff, but I do. I'm a geek.
Well, no, I actually did notice because I was watching him warm up the other day for a moment, and I think I saw some video for the first show, and yeah, Warren was kind of more of a tight hand with it,
Tight hand.
and
Yeah.
who knows? Over the years, your styles change a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, and don't really want to speak. I don't know how much he'd been playing on his off time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's okay. You pick up
So my
different
question
things
is,
if you
Warren,
put
were
it
you
down
doing
for a
that
while.
because that's what Lynch influenced you to do and you thought you looked cool, and now you're grown up and now you're in the fist? And he probably doesn't think about it. He probably doesn't even have an answer for it if I ask him, He probably that's the way I'm playing,
Yeah, I
dude.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, your styles change a little bit, and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, I don't know. I was almost disappointed that Warren didn't fan his fingers the other day. Darn it anyway, but it's fine. I
But you know
almost was
what?
disappointed when he busted the damn string on laid down. But
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it. No, dude, man, that's one of them things that happens. Believe me, it was a
who
little heart
knows?
sink. Everything was going great, and
Dude, no one was more disappointed than Warren, I'm sure.
oh, believe me. And the funny thing is, one of the first things I saw, I don't know if it was before I took off Monday to come home or after I landed, was there was a nice minute-long video of that on Facebook. So I was like, oh
Hey,
yeah,
you just told
awesome.
me it was only 10 seconds, dude. It was a whole minute.
Well, from like the start of the song to
Yeah,
when
I
he
know.
got back into it and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like, oh great.
Yep.
This is the first thing I get when I get off the plane is I get to see the video of its string break. And you know what, man? It happens. And the hard thing is with us just carrying two, it's one of those learn from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
might have to buy a white
Well,
Frenchie to bring out with us.
exactly. Well, again, like I told you, I felt for you. I felt a little pitter patter for you, buddy. I'm like, oh, help
I need a
John,
white
help John.
Frenchie
Guitar
anyways.
gods, help John, help
Oh
John.
yeah. Well, and I mean, most of the time it would have been fine. It was just that drop D thing. It was like, oops, okay.
Okay, this next one's probably going to get us both in trouble, but the personality of George Lynch, that was very hard for me to figure out for a long time as a fan, and just, I'm nervous as shit talking to him. I'm a customer of his, obviously. How long this man has the biggest deadpan humor, just dry, and he gets me. He catches, like, half the time you don't
Oh,
know if
he's a
he's
rock.
joking, and it's just like, he's his long running thing with me, and I actually bought into it for a long time, was that I was a Canadian because I'm just so nice, and so every time I see him, he's like, "When did you get in from Canada?" I'm like, is he serious, or is he just full of shit? He knows I'm not from Canada.
He's
So
full
did
of
he?
shit.
Is he? How long did it take you to figure him out, like in that way? Like it'd be, because you're like, wait a minute, is he serious or is he not serious?
Not too long. I mean, and at first it was like I'd have to say almost the first year was more we would just get together for shows. But yeah, you saw it. But yeah, dude, he is a riot. I mean,
He's an
we'll do
unbelievable sense of humor.
yeah, like you're saying, we'll do a 6 hour drive, dude. We won't even turn on the radio half the time, and it's just he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a creative fella.
Oh yeah. Dude, we have a blast. I mean, let's put it this way: he's one of my favorite humans on this planet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, mine
We
too. I
have
don't
a
know him
riot.
that personally, but he's, it's Warren and George are definitely the reasons that I play guitar. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. There's none.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, they're three of my top five.
Yep. Two more questions, my friend. What was the best show for you on the Lynch Mob last ride tour? Because I'm hoping they were ones that I was at, because I haven't answered that myself.
Pool show was really good on the boat.
Yes. I thought the Manhattan Room was a little bit better, honestly, but I don't know from your perspective if it was or not.
Yeah, that was that was a really good show.
Jimmy's
I don't know.
less,
I've always liked the pool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
Manhattan Room show was really good. He jammed out. Man, I pretty much every night on that last run, he was tearing it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was the best thing. The very cool thing was it was the first time in the 10 years I'd been with him, we'd gone out and we've done a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah.
And that's maybe 3 or 4 a week. We went on a 2 month run
Yeah, you did.
leading up to the boat. So it was
And
like
so
normally,
I assume he's just getting better and better. I mean, the more he's playing
oh yeah,
on stage every night, the better it gets. It's just like
and
crescendos.
everybody and the
Of
band
course. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, because it's normally they would get together on Thursday, it'd be a good show. Friday would be really good. Saturday would be great, and then everybody goes home for a week, maybe two
Everybody
weeks,
goes home when
however
all the
long.
cylinders are clicking, It just sucks.
Exactly. And this was just all right, bam. We hit it for almost 2 months. And we had a couple of days off in between some little breaks and stuff. But we were doing 5 shows a week pretty much. So it's like these guys were clicking, didn't even have to really think about playing. It was just go out there and play. And yeah, he was tearing it up.
Yep. Good stuff.
So
All
yeah,
right.
the boat shows were really good. Yeah, those are probably about the best two of the
Good.
last
Well,
one.
I was there. Love it. Yep. As far as the ones I saw, they were the one in Harrison, Ohio, February 24, I want to say, was really good too. I
Oh,
don't
Blue
think you
Note?
were there. You weren't there. I don't think you were there. I think you're out with Extreme.
No,
That's right. I think you were out with Extreme.
no, I was there on that one.
Oh, were you? Okay.
That's
Okay.
Harrison's Blue Note.
Blue Note. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, we didn't have anything go wrong, so you didn't see me.
And I wasn't bringing my guitar, so I wasn't begging like, "Hey, John, what?"
Nice guitar. Those Mr. Scaries are killer.
Yeah. Well, I think mine is really cool. uh, So what is 20 years from now, or well, let's say 50 years from now, we're all of us are going to be probably gone, right? So what's the legacy
I would think
of,
I don't want to be that old.
well, I always joke the only one that wants to be 100 is a 99-year-old guy, but
Yeah, pretty much.
uh what's the legacy that's going to be written about each three of these guys? What do you think the legacy is? I mean, that's a tough question. That's not. What do you think?
Oh man, don't know because I mean, are people even gonna be listening? Hopefully, they're still listening to guitar and everything.
I think they will, John. When I see 6 and 8 and 10-year-old kids at some of these shows, it's your parents listen to it, and so I
Oh
think
yeah,
they.
man, it's the parents bringing them up, and thankfully, and dude, like anytime I see any little kids at shows, I definitely take care of them with a pick, set list, anything like that,
And
because they're the
it,
next generation of this stuff.
it I at one of those shows, I remember standing next to a 14-year-old kid, and he was with his guitar teacher, and he was totally into it, and I almost wanted to be like an old grandpa telling him like how it was back in the when I saw George Lynch play in front of 80,000 people at Monsters of Rock tour, and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, innovators, pretty much all
Yes.
three of them. I
Yes.
mean, they were the best of that generation and still are. I mean, I don't know about Warren. Hopefully, Sim and Steven will write something. I mean, it's George's last album. There was some great music on it. I'm sure the next one, I haven't heard anything off of it
Oh,
yet,
you haven't?
is going to be phenomenal.
Mm.
Hell, Nuno was 6 with Extreme. I mean,
Hmm.
those guys put together a fantastic album,
Yeah, it really is.
and their next one guaranteed is going to be just as good.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that's the crazy thing. It's like I luck out where, okay, I get done with one band, I go to just as good of a guitar player. I mean, it's not even 1A, 1B, 1Z, it's one,
Yeah.
one, one.
Well, we got to get Jakey Lee back on the road, and you can tech for him. I've never seen Jake play live, and it's a bucket list thing for me. So we got to
I
get
think
him
I
back out
saw him
there.
back with Ozzy, and I caught him a couple of times with Badland,
Oh, he's such a
but I didn't.
You know how I would
Sadly,
describe
I didn't
him?
appreciate
Badass.
Badlands. Yeah, sadly, I didn't
I
appreciate
didn't either.
Badlands at that
I didn't
point.
either. I didn't either.
But yeah, and hopefully he's getting back out there.
Yeah, I've heard he's roundabout out in Vegas, so hopefully, yeah, we'll see him again live. But well, listen, John, I appreciate your time. I apologize if I geeked out here, but it's my job. I'm a fan, and I'm damn good
No,
at my
dude,
job.
I believe me, same thing. I mean, George was like huge influences. Obviously, you can tell from the back wall
Yeah,
on playing, and same thing with Nuno and Warren. I mean, it's all right. Heard George first, opposite of you. Heard Warren, and then the crazy thing is, the first time I ever saw Nuno play, I got a chance. They got put on a bill where I was on it, and nobody knew about him. Dude, I watched him warm up, and let's put it this way: I just
it's
finished my set.
demoralizing.
Oh yeah. Let's put it this way: I finished my set, walked upstairs via I just kicked some ass. Bro, watched him warm up. I went in the dressing room and sat there and went, "Really?"
I remember George once saying something to the effect, I don't even remember who he was talking about, but he said it's enough to encourage or discourage anybody. It was Paul Gilbert, I think, when Gilbert first came out.
Yeah,
He goes, it's
that's
enough to
another one.
encourage or discourage anybody, and it encouraged George. That's why I always, again, that's one of the things I like about Lynch's motto. He's always pushing, always striving, never thinks he's still chasing what's in his head. And
Oh yeah.
God, I like, man, someday I hope I get to hear what's in your head. It's like, it'd be incredible. So,
Well, they got the next one coming out, so
yeah. Yeah, and he's got, he does all this other stuff, KXM, which is completely different takeoff, and I mean, just all these things.
dude, that's one of my favorite projects ahead.
It's just superstar musicians and just great guys, and hopefully it goes somewhere too. All right, my friend, hang on here for a little bit.